think that there's a kind of huge value in our culture put on busyness. And we learn to, and I think that kind of busy work is an addiction,
Yeah.
like heroin or sugar or anything else. I really do. I think we become addicted to that sense of feeling needed, a kind of sense of our own importance, all that kind of thing. And that's part of the coming into stillness, is the kind of letting that go, and also beginning for the first time to really dig into maybe what drove us to be so hard charging in the first place. I come from a family which is very much about achievement. And I think that what this experience has given me is a sense of the possibility of living in another way, in a more connected, kinder, gentler, calmer way. And now my absolutely best thing is sitting in the noon circle with my women. So we run these circles all over the place. I run one myself in London every month. And we have about 25 women and they sit there. Maybe it's the journalist in me, but it's, for me, it's like 25 unopened Christmas presents. Because everyone who comes brings an incredible story.
Yeah.
And what happens is that you get this wonderful weave around the circle. So maybe you've got somebody who comes and they say, oh, I had someone so moving the other day said, I think I'm gonna, my marriage isn't working. And she said it was the first time she'd spoken that out loud.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then sitting next to was someone who'd split up with their partner kind of 18 months before. And then a little bit around the circle, there was somebody who did it 5 years ago. So there was this wonderful sense of the road to come
Yeah.
being mapped out by the other women in the circle, going, I've sat where you are. I know what that feels like, but it will be okay. And it's almost like your hand is being held by all these sisters who've already gone on that.
Yeah. How wonderful. I want to come to one of these circles.
It's so magic. And it's also, it's not all gloom and doom. It's really, there's so much laughter.
Yeah.
I run a lot of trips. We do tours to like Morocco. We're doing one to Egypt later in the year. And the laughter on those trips, and the hammam in Marrakesh with 15 Queenagers. I've never laughed so much in my life. In fact, I thought we were going to get thrown out. So we're all being scrubbed by this kind of old madam. And we walked over the high Atlas Mountains. So I try to take women on an adventure, something which gets them slightly out of their comfort zone. I think it's a bit of a cliche, but which makes them see that they can still do things that they didn't think that they could do. So on that trip, there were lots of women going, wow, yeah, God, I climbed a mountain on my gap year, but I haven't done a trek like this for 30 years. And I still can. And that's what's wonderful. So that sense of achieving something that you didn't know you could achieve then means that you can apply that to other bits of your life. So I'm trying to give them some resilience, some courage, a sense that, yes, okay, I'm very keen on getting into cold water. I swim in the Hampstead ponds every day, even through the winter. And so on my retreats, they quite often involve a bit of cold water. And often the women will come in and I'll literally have them in my arms in the water, because a lot of them have been holding so much of everybody else. It's like nobody is, who's looking after them. So there's this kind of wonderful sense of the community, this supportive community at noon, gathering round and holding each other.
Oh, wow,
really
that's
magic.
incredible.
It's really magic. I absolutely love it. And I think the book really is about a lot of that. I write about the trip to Morocco and lots of the things that happen in the circle and the women who've inspired me. And really what we're trying to do is to create a life for women at this point which feels resonant. And by that I mean that you feel on the outside as you do on the inside, that you don't feel that there's a bit of you which isn't really getting a chance, that all of it is in play. And that's the opportunity.
In terms of the addiction to busyness and doing things, I think I'm probably like that. And I think most of the women I know, most of the women who watch this programme will be like that, because we're all essentially juggling children, running careers, and we're all quite ambitious.
Yes. There's a drive.
Yeah, there is. And I think we've been brought up to be ambitious, haven't we? Our generation's been brought up with the you can have it all narrative.
Yeah, the having it all narrative, which was basically doing it all.
Yes.
But I think in that kind of mania and busyness and defining ourselves, the kind of success for ourselves in that way, we miss out a huge amount of actually what makes us happy.
And how did silence help you break that addiction?
The silence, particularly coupled with the yoga and the meditation. So you hand in your phone when you get there. So no phone, no books, no radio, no nothing, just you. And you go into your body through the yoga. You do 3 hours of Iyengar in the morning and then 3 hours of yin in the afternoon. And that kind of makes you realize where in your body you're holding sadness or complication. And I think a lot of the busyness is a kind of numbing agent. So you come back into your body and you begin to feel all the things that the busyness kept at bay, which can be pretty freaky and upsetting. I've definitely cried a lot. But I think what it allows you to do is to live from a deeper place.
And are most women you speak to in your community recognizing that might be a good thing to do for themselves? Or is it something they think, oh, I don't want to face that?
I think we all feel like we don't want to face it. And that's why, but it's really interesting. So some people, I'd say it's about half and half. Some people come to Noon because they've had that falling off the roof moment. They've been made redundant. Their partner's died, that maybe their kids have left home. But it's really important to say that 30% of women 45 to 65 in the UK nearly do not have kids. It's really high proportion, particularly in the Noon community. So it's not just the kid thing. And it's really important to be inclusive.
There's a lot of women who are single as well.
Lots, about 40% are single.
Yeah, 40% are single and 40% not having kids.
Yeah,
so
it's like between 25 and 30% don't have kids. So so I'm trying to be very inclusive around that.
Yeah.
And so it's not just about the kid thing, but for whatever reason, what I see is either they come because they've had that push off the roof moment, or they come, and I think in some ways this is braver, because they feel stuck, or that they feel that their life no longer is serving them. One woman said to me, I feel like I'm sleepwalking through my own life. I feel like I haven't chosen any of it. I don't really know how I've ended up here. And I get that a lot, the sense that the shape that they found themselves in is itchy, it's distorting them, it's not serving them. And so I think they're really brave, because I think to come and say, actually, it all looks fine on the surface.
Yeah, and often it looks good on the surface.
It looks great on the surface, often, but they're going, and there is that thing, I think, when you hit 50, it's like we're halfway through.
Yeah.
There is much more to come, but it's also, okay, what are you going to do? That wonderful Mary Oliver quote, what are you going to do with your one wild and precious life? And they get that sense of, is this it? And that sense of, I'm not done yet. And I think it's also a real opportunity for women to go back at 50 to fulfill the dreams they had when they were younger, to become the women they always wanted to be. That's what we say. And I think that that's about what being a Queenager is about. It's finally going, okay, I've put everyone else's needs ahead of my own. Maybe I've been ticking all these boxes that I've been set by family, culture. This is what success looks like. And finally at midlife, we get an opportunity to really decide for ourselves what success looks like for us.
And what are some of the things you've seen women go on and do as a result of coming into the Noon community and finding that level of support and understanding?
Oh, amazing stuff. Writing books, going back to study, retraining to do something else, really stepping up at work. We actually find that 70% of women 50 plus want a promotion. They want to extend their careers.
Yeah.
But because of the gendered ageism in the culture, too many Queenagers get made redundant in the way that I did.
Yeah.
We're seen as like having reached our shelf life. And that for me is a really important thing. Why should men be seen as silver foxes and allowed to go on and seen as more experienced in management? Whereas women, I think in the corporate world, are most valued when they're rather pretty, pliable and pleasing. And I think when we hit 50, we become a bit more bolshy, a lot more experienced, and will argue back, and probably look a lot less pleasing. So we're not such an attractive proposition to all these senior men. Of course they love young women who are going, oh wow, aren't you wonderful?
Yeah.
What a brilliant idea. But when you turn around and go, actually I've been doing this job for nearly 30 years and I've won all these prizes and I think what you've just said is rubbish.
Yeah.
Oh, they really don't like that. So I do think that there's a problem in the kind of corporate world of too many women being handmaidens to more senior men, or providing social oil, and it being important to be pleasing. And actually, I think one of the wonderful things about hitting 50 is that you really don't care what people think anymore, and you trust yourself more. But there isn't really yet a place for that. What's interesting is I've discovered that Queenagers are massively in demand as chief risk officers in banks.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, but particularly because of that whole thing during the financial crash. Christine Lagarde said if it had been Lehman Sisters rather than Lehman Brothers, this would never have happened.
Yes, yeah.
And I think that there's a sense that what you really want if you're in your chief risk officer is someone who's going to speak up and call it as it is. And actually a Queenager is very good at doing that. And there's also, I see huge numbers of women wanting to become entrepreneurs.
Yes.
We've done a big report with HSBC about Queenager entrepreneurs, as we call them, and about what they need. There's a massive investment gap. So 69% of women want to become entrepreneurs, only about 19% do. And they're getting more money in grants than they are in investment from banks or VC. Women are getting less than, it's about 1 or 2% of all venture capital investment of all women globally. So there's a huge problem here. And there's also a massive market, because if Queenagers are behind 90% of all household consumer spending decisions, and we're massively unrepresented, we see in our research that our women would be 68% more likely to buy from from a brand that represents them authentically.
Yeah.
So there's a huge opportunity there. I went to interview Sheryl Sandberg just before I left the Sunday Times. It was on the cover of the magazine and the front page of the paper on the day that I was made redundant, but that's another story. But Sheryl said to me, this is the biggest, most underserved, most lucrative market in the whole of the marketing firmament. And this is the woman who set up Meta's advertising juggernaut, so she knows. And hardly any companies or brands are talking to us directly. So there's a massive commercial opportunity here, but only with realistic, authentic representation of older women, not with them looking like they're 20, although they happen to be 50. That's what we need to change. And what's scary about that, I was reading this morning about this whole phenomenon called dermorexia, like teenagers becoming obsessed by their skin products and anti-aging stuff. Loads of young kids, young girls turning up at dermatologists with terrible acne and stuff, which has been caused by retinol and really strong skin products on their skin. And so our society is inculcating women with a sense that aging is a disaster from when they're teenagers. So I want all those young women to look forward to being a queenager as when it all gets good, because I really believe that it does. And I gave a big talk about this yesterday at a big conference for younger women, and they were so loving it. I got mobbed at the end, because that sense that you're a queenager in training, that you're actually going to come into your power at 50.
The narrative there, Ellen, and I think you're going to do it.
Well, I'm trying. That's what the book's all about. And the purpose of Noon is to change that narrative to something more positive, because it's just a story. We've changed the story about homosexuality, about race in our culture. Why can't we change it about what we value women for? Why are women only valued, I see it in like terms of, we're only valued in black and white for being fertile and fanciable, whereas I think women are rainbows of colours, intelligent, creative, resourceful, fun. All the other things that we are get ignored by the kind of male lens. And so what I'm arguing for is for women to be seen in all our glorious technicolor as we age, and all our wisdom, and putting all that experience and knowledge and heart back into a sense of what women are for over 50.